Okay, so welcome everyone to Create Metaverse You today. Thank you for having us clubbed out. They're normally standing there, but they're not here today, so it's for the camera. Roy, Anita, thank you. My name is Steve Safarowic. I'm from Xccelerate here in Hong Kong, and today I'm joined by David, Mia, and Ryan. So I'm going to let you guys all briefly introduce yourselves and what company you work with and what you do for that company. So David?
Absolutely. I'm David, working for Supertron. So I am game designers, making games on blockchain. I'm trying to go as fast as we can to make them mainstream.
Hi, I'm here and my boss here, and I help him to doing all the outfit for like the game assets and also the promotional material and all the UX UI things.
Yeah, hi, I'm Ryan. I work for myself right now. My company is called Gambo Studio, and I work on games, UX UI, and also, well, mostly that. These two. That's it.
Very cool, very cool. Thank you guys. So I'd like to treat the audience like you guys are absolute beginners. Maybe some of you guys are seasoned veterans back there. Eddie, I know that you're the king of the Web3. Roger, you're the prince of Web3. However, I'm going to treat this conversation, this fireside chat, as if it were, you guys were all new. So that gets the best perspective from everyone. But I always like to do a little bit of research on my panelists before each event. So I've done some digging. I hired a private investigator. I learned a lot about you. Weird, man. But interesting background. So Mia, you're the only person that's been in design since you graduated. So today we're focusing a little bit on design and Web3. David, you started in other different jobs. I think collections was one. You made your way into Zynga.
Correct.
During the heyday.
Yes.
How did you
found it actually?
How did you go from not gaming to gaming? It was, I think, 3 jobs you did on. I saw it on LinkedIn.
Oh, okay.
And you ended up at Zynga, who was like the king of mobile games for a time. How did that happen?
So yeah, I mean, for me, my career was kind of weird because I started in banking. Banking is good for money, but it's not really fun.
Yeah.
But there's something I was always really good at, is Street Fighter 2.
Street Fighter 2.
I was better at Street Fighter 2 than banking. So I decided to really spend more time working gaming on thing I was coming in Europe. So they were opening on, they said, okay, we want like players, we need to get some insight, we need game leads. So it was a good way to start. And at the time it was a big boom on social gaming. So Facebook was really pushing Farmville or this kind of game, Dream Pet House, Wars with Friends, and then draw something. So that was a really good vibe at the time.
And you jumped in on what role?
Game lead.
Game lead. And now you've made your way to
Game producer.
game producer. So guys, any dream you have, you can make it happen. Learn from David. Ryan, you as well, you've gone through a journey I know firsthand. You were a student at Xccelerate. I've watched you grow from a burgeoning designer to now the CEO of your own company.
Yes.
So can you tell us about your journey?
I do agree with David that the jobs that pay well are usually more boring. I'm sorry, that's true. So for me, I think UX UI is a great way for me to earn income, but I also enjoy doing it. Whereas gaming, it's a lot more fun, come on. But the pay, I mean, it depends on the budget, but usually since gaming involves more, it's more intricate, I think.
Intricate.
That it costs more.
Yes.
So when you put in more time to do it, it might be a bigger time cost. So I would say that gaming is like a passion thing for me.
Yeah.
But back to the thing, sorry, what's your question?
How did you go your journey from 0 to hero?
That's right. So I wanted to break into the game industry, doing concept art and also illustrations. But since it's so competitive and the standard to get in is so high, that I decided to take a break. So I took a course from Xccelerate on UX UI, and then from there, I started with web and mobile designs for UX UI projects. Sort of found a connection between game UI and also game illustrations. So that got me my first game studio job in Hong Kong. So I think UX UI is like something really special to me because honestly I hated it before I joined.
Right.
So I just thought it was so boring. Like I don't want to do research. I don't want to do, frames. But then I find that there's a demand for it, and I think if you find a way to connect any two things together, like for me it's gaming and UI, you can be special because there are lots of UI designers, there are lots of game designers, but people who do both, it's kind of hard to come by. So
Right.
that's how I see it.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
Thank you.
And Mia, Mia,
Yeah.
you've been designing since birth.
Yeah.
So how did that come? How did you know you always wanted to be a designer?
But actually, I started drawing when I was like really young, and it actually like when everyone say, "Oh, you're good at it," then you continue doing it. And I decided to do like my education in overseas UK because I wanted to become like fine artist at that time.
Mhm.
And then turning out like my uni open days are really cool because they are like getting really close connection to like the industry, doing all the Marvel stuff, like so cool, so dope.
Yeah.
And I jumped into become like 3D modeler. And then I come back to Hong Kong, but like, you know, Hong Kong movie industry. And then I start my first job as a surfacing artist and helping them to do like texturing things for kind of realistic movie.
Yeah.
And I doing like the side character texturing stuff on it. But yeah, it's like Hong Kong movie industry, pros and cons.
Yeah.
Like good work thing is like overtime working too much for me, and then I decided to like, yeah, I like drawing more than I find an illustration job.
And here you are in the metaverse now.
Yeah, I mean,
That's a beautiful journey.
Yeah.
Ah, it's wonderful. Cool. So, hey, so here we are today. We're talking about the metaverse. We're talking about designing the metaverse. David, we've talked about this philosophically for hours on end.
Correct.
What is the metaverse?
There's so many definition of it now, but I think from what we have now, what people want actually two definitions. A lot of people, when we have this kind of conversation, they think about the matrix.
Yeah.
Like everybody with a helmet or living in a parallel universe, but right now, the metaverse is like different small island, disconnected.
Right.
A place when you can have your, I would say your twin avatar,
Twin avatar.
Walking around trying to play some games, but also a place that you can shape yourself. So I would say today, the metaverse is actually a different format, on different platform. It can be AR, it can be VR, it can be just on your Chrome browser. It's just a place where you can reconnect with your friends.
Right.
The thing is, I must say, is that it's not always on blockchain. Because by definition, you can say that, yeah, Fortnite is a metaverse, because probably you have like more clothes for your avatar in Fortnite than in reality. And actually, your friends, they just know your avatar parents in the game.
Yeah.
You talk with them, oh yeah, how are you after work? Let's have a beer, and then let's play. Boom. So that's the metaverse. It's a place when you have your digital avatar, when you can have activities with your other friends who have their own avatars.
So is there more than one metaverse?
At the moment, there are many different metaverses.
Can there always exist one metaverse, or can there only be one?
From my point of view, for now, they're multiple, but all of them will go in the same direction.
Yeah.
I would say it's like a little bit for me, like now, I remember like 20 years ago, so everybody has this kind of Sony Ericsson phones, Alcatel, Nokia, and all of them, they have their own OS, their own language, and everybody has to code it separately.
Yeah.
Right now, the way you do a game on Sandbox, or the way you do a game on Decentraland is absolutely different. But with the time, all of them will converge. Right now, we have like Ethereum, we have different Polygon, different networks, but I believe there will be one or two metaverse, just like Coca-Cola and Pepsi.
And we pray it's not Mark Zuckerberg's.
Oh yeah, no. He has another idea, this guy.
What's your guys' favorite idea of the metaverse now? Is it Fortnite, Sandbox? Mia, do you have a metaverse you spend time in?
Sandbox, I would say.
Yeah.
Because it's like they give the most.
How many hours a week do you spend there?
Not that much. If they getting like our past period, then I would spend like doing all the missions and earn some sand on it, I would say. But there's still a lot of testing work to work on, I believe. So it's like a good learning journey for me while playing.
Okay, it's a learning journey. Ryan, do you spend any time in any metaverse eye?
Do you want to know the real answer?
That's why we're here.
we both give you two answers. The first answer is decentralized.
Okay.
I like the minimal style of it, and I think building assets is easier on there as a designer. The real answer is, back like 10 years ago, I would play fantasy games like World of Warcraft or some local games. Like I like Holy Beast Online. Don't know if you know that. I like to dance as female characters in the base of the games.
That's okay.
That is my metaverse. I mean, come on. Like I think metaverse is just another word for. I expose myself, but I think it's another word for digital community. Because back then, if I tell my mom, "Hey, why don't you join me at Warcraft? Like let's dance together at the base,"
Yeah.
she would slap me.
Okay.
I think now if you say metaverse, people are more, even outside of the gaming community, they're more inclined or open to accept that.
Digital community.
Exactly.
I think it's a very concise way to put it. I think that's the least complicated. No, it's a very good answer, digital community. So one thing, David, we talked about before was everything, our idea of the metaverse seems to be tied to gaming and gamers. Is metaverse directly tied to gaming? What is the metaverse to non-gamers? To my mom, someone's grandma, if they don't play Fortnite, does the metaverse exist for them?
From my point of view, yes.
How?
Like for architects.
Okay.
Like your chance to create, like most of the time, okay, you want an architect, okay, you want to show a building, you have to make a mock. But now you actually can make like a 3D model in Blender, Maya, putting there on having people visiting it, even if this building doesn't exist. You can also show your car. Even if your car doesn't exist, it still exists in the metaverse. So you can get in, see what is the look on film. Maybe you cannot touch it, but you can see what it looks like. It's already good enough for making projects. So no, it's not only for gamers, it's really for everyone.
Do you think that there is a metaverse for everyone outside of architects? I mean, like, what about, I don't know, chefs or bus drivers? Bus driving metaverse?
I believe there is.
Driving simulator community?
For people who like driving bus, there must be a place for them too.
Okay, so what do you think? My affinity for Web3 and the metaverse, despite crypto, degens, etc., was always one's representation of himself online in the digital community. It seems with Gen Z, there seems to be a trend with younger generations finding more of themselves in their online persona than their offline persona. Do you think this is a trend that we're going to see more of in the coming years?
For me, yes. I believe that we already spend a lot of our time indirectly in the digital world. I'm pretty sure all of us, we already chat to 2 people at least on WhatsApp today. So we already actually spend a lot of time talking in the digital way with our friends and family. So the bridge to metaverse is actually easier. It's actually natural for us. For us, it's okay, sending emails, WhatsApp, sending pictures, recording everything through our phones, spending our time with the computer. It's not something our parents were doing.
It's true. Mia, do you think that your online digital persona in any metaverse is different than who you are in real life?
Yeah, pretty different.
What's the difference between the online you and the offline you?
I think the online, because it's like Web3 happen more online, then you need to become more outgoing and talk more.
Yeah.
And
online, talk more online than offline.
Yeah, it's like clear space all the time, like everyone calling up, like putting your hands on, and then go up and you can talk with all the big people, like maybe like the head of CEO, because like they're promoting their project, and then you can just rise up and ask them a question. Because the connection become closer.
You think it becomes closer, even if you're online in a chat room with thousands of people?
Because sometimes it's the most difficult way to get a connection. It's like you have to have the background, but now because of the appearances of like Web3 appears, and like people need to promote their project online, like getting space, getting the Discord community, getting all the online identity, like building a different identity, like using the way like .eth or /lane or 08 something like that, and then bring a new idea of like what the online me, maybe like a total different me, and then offline maybe just artist.
Right,
kind of
okay.
thing.
I got it. Ryan, I mean, I've known you for some time. I think sometimes the way you represent yourself online is different significantly than the
Very
offline version of you. And it seems like you find a lot of passion in that expression. Where does that come from?
Maybe it's escape, especially in Hong Kong. I did move from Toronto to Hong Kong 2 years ago. To answer that, I think it's escape because I can just be whoever I want online. So my ID, like, or the handle might be weird. Not gonna just expose myself again, but it's weird, and I like to do something to surprise people. So I would say that. But for Metaverse, I want to add to the conversation, which is, I think to me what's special about it is I recently saw a documentary on YouTube on the cults on Metaverse.
Cults?
Yes. So there's VR chat. You guys might have heard of it.
Ooh,
So
yeah.
you're wearing a headset, and then you can enter space, pose as at anything you want, like maybe anime girls or like monsters or anything. So there are cults on VR chat because the emotional connection you get from in that space is stronger than when you're texting. Because when you're in that space, with the headset on, you can communicate as if you're in person. So I think that's something that most people don't have the experience of, and they might just dismiss the idea of VR and like Metaverse, but I think it does add to the emotional connection. You know, because we're so used to texting, like we might read it and we're numb to the response we get all the time. But when you're in a space, you can read people's gestures and also what they do as well.
Do you think it's authentic? Because you'd have to be pretty suited up with good technology to represent your entire emotion.
That's a good point because, to be honest, I was one of the people who I was so not ready for Metaverse because I have friends who work in the field, like they do the VR tech for different types of companies. Like it might be for senior citizens, like if they can't move anymore, like if they're like really old, they might want to travel somewhere but they can't because they're too old. So they would develop technology to help them maybe see Paris for the first time in VR. Or it's like for construction, if they need training and it's dangerous on site, they might develop some tools in VR to train them instead of having them to do the dangerous activities, you know? So by talking with those friends, I'm like, I don't know about that. Like, I wouldn't want to wear that stupid headset on my face when I go out. And I just, like, we had the conversations and we think it's not feasible, but I remember back in like 2008, before iPhone. Come on, like before iPhone, if I tell you can talk with anyone anytime or text anytime, no charge or cost on your phone calls, you would say like, that's stupid.
Yeah.
Just go back to my flip phone, you know?
Yeah.
I think what's missing is that piece of technology or whatever, you know? If that happens and it all connects, we have to, just like back then.
Do you use VR now?
I did dabble and I tried gaming with it, but not my vibe.
Not your
Not
vibe?
my vibe. I prefer PC when it comes to gaming.
Okay.
But when it comes to the interaction we're talking about, again, I think it's the piece of technology we're missing. But we can't really predict that. It's like saying, like I see the flip phones and the expandable phones now. You might not use that, but that would inspire other like creations, which might become something which will be adapted mainstream. You know?
Okay, so before we get to the essential technology, for right now as designers, what do you guys think is essential for designing a metaverse where people want to spend time? What are the essential aspects of that? Character, avatars, world surroundings, souvenirs, buildings. What is essential for something as a designer? What sells, what doesn't sell?
I think it's like the visual definitely a very important part because it's like even though NFT nowadays you got a good visual, then you can sell better.
Right.
And if you one day turning like to a metaverse and you're saying like it's gonna be like look worse than yourself in real life, and none of the creative. And why would you want to join in the metaverse? Just you want to go to a better world to escape the reality, rather than like I get in a crap visual expressions metaverse, and then it's saying like, yeah, everyone will like it, and I will build my digital double in it, and I would buy this metaverse thing inside, buy the assets inside. I think other than social aspect, it definitely like how you looking, and that's why like that getting like the fashion NFT going out, art NFT going out, because you want to look good in metaverse too, rather than just like looking bad, and then it's like the digital of yourself even worse than
So it's
yourself in real life.
escapism, but there's no way we don't really escape the vanity. So even if you're trying to escape things in real life, this is going philosophical.
Yeah, I know.
But I mean, it's part of it, because you guys keep saying the common theme here is escapism. But even when we escape into this metaverse world, what we really care about is how we look, who we're hanging out with, how we're expressing ourselves. So as you guys, when you're taking on clients, what sort of things do you guide them? What do you say that this needs to be here, or what's a crazy idea? Like what's the day in the life of somebody who people pay to design on Web3?
Actually, it always depends on first industry. Some, I would say, like for example, it's really something about fashion.
Fashion,
Okay?
always fashion.
Fashion, beauty, makeup, all this kind of thing. Obviously, people they want to look good, but they want to know how you can actually have a kind of fashion metaverse on having all your customers in it. Okay, so obviously this time you don't want to have monsters with makeup. No, you want to have like, beautiful things, a magnificent environment like Monaco, or this kind of thing. So, so metaverse actually shape around like the product itself. So in this case, yes, probably people want to look good.
By the way, that VR chat, I spent like 10 minutes there. It was monsters and transformers and
Anime.
big-breasted women. Yeah.
Exactly.
So it's a difference in.
It's a different thing, but we had tried that once. Yeah, obviously, if you want to be that, want to really express their really inner self, I would say.
Yeah.
So that's the thing we chat provide. Like it's really okay. If I like to be like Godzilla, I am Godzilla. And for all my friends in VR chat, I am Godzilla.
Godzilla in Monaco. But
why not?
so you said in the beginning of the conversation, you think there will be one metaverse. Ryan likes to spend his time in crazy fantasy worlds, and you guys like to spend your time dressed in Louis Vuitton in the metaverse. How can this coexist?
I think it's the kind of like metaverse giving the right to you to let you choose what kind of thing you want to be.
Yeah.
Like you want to be a dinosaur, you can be a dinosaur inside the metaverse, rather than it's not an idea like I'm wearing good. It's giving the idea like metaverse giving you the right. You want to be a dinosaur, you can be a dinosaur. You want to be a butterfly, you can be a butterfly. Or if then I think it's the idea like even though like metaverse fashion is about like using the material like more unique, or it's impossible to appear in real life, or it's like crazy expensive.
Yeah.
If rather than this is like crazy skin color, green, purples, or other colors, other than like I'm just like facial pretty, but it's about like being something impossible to appear in the real life.
Okay. How far? Without running the risk of this going too philosophical, this is my general curiosity. I like, how far is too far? How far do you think people want to go in the metaverse, and before it really affects how they feel in real life?
To be honest, I believe like in 10 years from now, I mean like when we're saying like everyone will be like with a full suit.
Full suit.
Full suit in their living room.
In the living room with the metaverse. Oh, you mean a suit, not like a suit, like a suit and tie.
Oh yeah, like
you
haptic
mean like
suit.
Ready Player One.
Exactly.
With a trampoline and.
Yeah, this thing looks exhausted. There will be something better.
Okay, so what do you think? What will this look like? What was the full set of metaverse gear we'll need?
I think it will be like a lot of things like putting pressure on your skin, so you can feel everything, blocking your fingers, so you can grab something in the metaverse. A full hand like really light, and because now it's kind of heavy sometimes. Like if you buy a PlayStation VR, it's really like the same size as a helmet for like a motorbike.
Yeah.
And something to let people move more smoothly too, without having to run everywhere, without the huge equipment that you can buy online.
Okay, cool. I mean, yeah, I don't want to get too deep before we get lost. That's for me, the burning questions. But back to base, you guys are all designers who work for companies who contract you guys to create things in the metaverse as we know today. What sort of companies are coming to you guys? What are they asking for?
Most of the time is really, so they come up with, oh, we know guys you're doing like blockchain, you mastered the blockchain technology. So it's usually they have a really broad idea. What is blockchain? What is the metaverse? How it works? So what they know is that they want to own their own environment, want to offer a new experience to their customers. They think the metaverse is a solution.
So what are some of the examples of things that you're creating?
Now recently we had somebody for like beauty.
Beauty.
Yeah.
So what you were saying is all about beauty.
It's kind of a combination, I think, because it's like nowadays, like I think like the metaverse design inside gives the ability to people to getting like more edgy design for like design a part.
Be a butterfly.
Yeah, be a butterfly. But even though like now like you get the web app inside, I doing the UX UI bit for my company too, and then if like a wallet web app, you can use like edgy design rather than like traditional. You need to be like clean and tidy, like some recent wallet using something like really colorful design, but it's not possible in like traditional banking because you need to use like solid 2 color, 3 color. Then it's like the information is easier to present. But metaverse is because it's like something really new. So even those you building something like the design in a new side and it's still able. And I think this is like how beauty metaverse coming out too, because now they like beauty earn a lot, and how to make people buy more like customized things on something is something more new to them.
Do you guys just design the assets, or do you design the environments that they are interacting with in?
Everything.
Everything. So tell us about this. Tell us about some of the worlds you designed.
So when these clients, so it's really interesting what we're seeing now, because sometimes it's to enhance an industry, sometimes it's to save one.
Okay.
So one industry we really got hit recently is music industry. Okay, it's really hard for anyone to make money through Spotify, SoundCloud, Mixcloud. So one client came up and said, okay, I believe we can actually go deeper with our fan base. Meaning, basically, is it possible to create a kind of maybe Daft Punk metaverse, a hub in a metaverse when actually all the fans of Daft Punk will connect?
It's fun.
Yes, going to live concerts of Daft Punk and then they don't do music anymore. And then getting perks, t-shirt of Daft Punk for the digital avatar. So obviously, everything match the design of Daft Punk, or it can be like different other musicians like Björk, etc., etc. But everything has to be shaped around those artists.
Okay. So you guys are full spectrum. You design the world, the assets. You must have a pretty big team. How big is the team you need to pull these things off?
So usually, I mean, we have Mia, she's our mastermind for art here.
Oh.
No, but we have also people.
No wonder you need to escape. So much work.
But it's like reality is less of creative. You need to use like so many money to reach the things you can reach in the metaverse.
Yeah.
I would say.
Yeah.
And the other side is like, other than expensive, is like because it's broke the boundary between people. Like different people you meet, it's like impossible you meet in real life. Especially like the classes is stable. If you work in a game company, then you usually meet with the game guys. You work in a Web3 company, then you usually meet with the Web3 guys.
The referee?
Yeah.
It's a very specific niche of people. Are you a referee as well?
Yeah, but it's like Discord and like Web3 become more popular. Everyone joining in, then you able to meet someone. It's like you're impossible to meet with over the country in different places over the world. And I think this is like the place that how metaverse is so attractive to me.
Okay, very cool. So Ryan, as well, I've watched your journey. You know, I've seen you, like I said, grow before. You were always attracted to drawing and bringing femme fatales to life. This is what you're doing now for a living. You said you were uncomfortable because your boss wanted you to just draw sexy women all day.
Exactly.
What are you designing? What's selling? What are your hottest requests?
So my dream was always to get into a game studio because I started playing games like League of Legends and also lots of MMOs that I find the art really cool. That from text, like I can give you a text description of a character. Medieval female character in her 30s with a large shield.
A referee, medieval? A
Yeah.
medieval referee?
No, like you know, like old time. But you can imagine lots of things, but what fits into the game really depends. You know, does it fit with the game engine? Does it fit with the style
Right.
you're going for?
Right.
So there's lots of limitations, but I find it really cool that the final thing we look at is always I make a connection to it because I'm playing as it, but also as just an artwork, I connect to it emotionally. So that's how I started. But anyways, after 7 years, I got my job, and then the games we work on is like a bit sexy. So that's just the market, and it's only a part of the games we make. But yeah, you know, that is the reality of it. In games, I think me and you might share the same experience. You really need to work on lots of different things outside of your comfort zone.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to just draw illustrations I like, but at the end of the day, I have to start learning 3D and also UI to be competitive in the field. So.
Right. Then you guys were mentioning different universes. How do you think, we'll be able to take our assets from one universe into another universe? Do you think that will be possible? Will that translate, or will your assets in one universe only be applicable to that?
It's already possible today.
Yeah.
That's actually the core elements of NFTs. If you have one NFT on your wallet with a set of course, metadata, and you have all these assets in different games, you can activate each of them at the same time. Now we're working on the platform, we have a racing game. At the same time, we have a tapping game with the guys running. What we did is actually putting different characters in both games. Like if you have a ninja NFT, you will have a ninja driving your car in this game, but you will have a ninja running on this one. So it's absolutely doable. It's already doable.
It's doable. So that even despite the limitations of engines and design systems and such, you can bring your stuff everywhere you go.
I think for some games,
Yeah.
there's definitely limitations between different games, but since people are more aware of that, like they want to keep their assets, because it's a pain. I spend lots of money in games, lots of games. Whenever they shut down their servers, I have nothing. Or if I change countries, I have nothing. So I think that's the direction we're going for, but then I like to think of it as, you know, when you ask for someone's contact, they say, hey, I'm on WhatsApp. I'm like, okay, you're cool. But then if they say I'm on Viber or I'm on WeChat or anything, you just, okay, I don't have it, but I'm going to download it and just use that to contact you. I think it's just different brands that you go to. I don't think there's one metaverse that people would go to because everyone likes different things. Just like how they would prefer, like what apps they would use to communicate with people. It might be privacy reasons or just the aesthetic or the functionality of the apps. So I think metaverse is the same.
Okay.
In that, you know,
Yeah.
you might have to go to different ones, but I don't think that's a problem
Right.
at all.
Okay, that makes sense. So lots of different metaverses, lots of different economies. But then this is what I'm going to start to sound perhaps cynical. I'm not sure. You know, I'm old enough to have been around for the dawn of Web 1, Web 2, etc. And it seems like a lot of that was birthed out of genuine artistry because people were curious first, and then see where the money came second. It kind of feels like the Web3 is with money first. Everything is attached to money, NFTs, royalties. And it's supposed to be about decentralization, but it feels like the only way all this can exist is if people are making money somewhere instantly. Do you guys feel like there's a divide in artistry between Web3 and what we saw when we were on AOL and IRC, trying new games back in the day. I'm not sure if this is art driven or money driven.
That's a really good question.
Sorry.
I would say, I know why most people think, oh, Web3 is about money. I would say it's because the first thing that's come up was the NFTs. We could see Paris Hilton on TV saying, hey, I bought my body for $100,000 US, something like this. The first perception people got of Web3 was, okay, NFT, all this Shiba token, all this money being made like overnight. But behind that, the thing is, that's the sexy part. That's the sexy part of Web3 for some people. But it was actually all about the blockchain technology. And then, like, no one was really like, oh, blockchain can actually change so many things. It can really change like how finance is working, how security is working. No one was really talking about it. You could never see like a superstar on TV saying, oh, blockchain technology is great. No, they were more like talking about this NFT. And I think that the perception of why Web2 is Amazon, is Facebook, is for everyone, Web3 is like NFTs, I think it's like the way the media were like paying attention somehow, but also like what people were able to do at the first place, buying tokens on NFT.
What do you guys think? Art driven, commerce driven?
To be honest,
You're very honest today.
I think even outside of Web3, everything is money first.
Okay.
Like,
Outside of Web3?
Not for everyone, yeah. Maybe not everything, but I don't think Facebook started out without having, making money in mind.
Wasn't it just Mark Zuckerberg trying to make a website for the girls at Harvard?
Maybe that's part of his agenda, but I think in this world we live in, unfortunately, money is something that we need or crave sometimes. But I just think that without anything concrete right now for Web3, that's why people are, uneasy about it. But I think it happens in other industries and also technology as well. Even in tech, there's like a scammer who said they're going to create some machine that's going to like detect cancer by like a drop of blood.
Oh.
I mean, it happens everywhere. It's just that right now the hype and also the market bad. So I think people are like, ooh, should I get in? But I think it's not really Web3 itself. It's just the world. Everything is like that.
Okay.
Depends on what angle you look at it. I mean, I was really skeptical, but I think there's gotta be someone who does it. I don't believe we're gonna live like that for the next 50, 100 years, because if you think about it, like 100 years ago, there weren't any cars. We're not dressed like that. There's no tech, there's no Wi-Fi. So there's gotta be something, and someone's gotta do it. And to me, I always see that the game industry is hiring, but they want the best. Or anything in tech, they want the best. But then education is not there yet, I think, because in schools they teach you like finances or traditional design or art. Like they don't really teach you anything that's newer, at least in my experience. So I think if you don't want to get eliminated,
Eliminated?
It's a bad way to say it, but I think with
You mean like left out?
yeah, left out, exactly. Or maybe eliminated, I don't know.
Oh, Jesus, Ryan.
There is a chance of it, but I haven't watched so much movies. But I think if you want to say relevant, let's put it that way.
If you want to stay relevant.
Relevant.
Oh,
You have to be open to new ideas.
of course.
I think that's the core thing, especially in the game industry. Like, tech is changing so fast that by the time I'm finished learning one thing, there's like a new software that's coming out. And I'm like, oh, like, this 15-year-old is taking my job. And it's mid-journey. I haven't heard about it until recently. And I didn't know they can paint in a way they paint, like the AI drawing software. So I think it's really important to stay open-minded.
Very good point.
Yeah.
Okay. I just realized we're coming up on the hour mark, so I wanted to open up the questions from the audience. If any of you guys are looking to get into this realm, all of the people here are creating digital assets and worlds for clients, friends, but it's all for that dollar, huh? But I'm sure there's a lot of valuable information to share. Taking any questions from the audience? If not, there we go. There's always one.
Thank you.
And then there's more.
So I'm very new to this whole metaverse thing. So I'm looking at this more from a commercial perspective. So it seems that it's sort of a work in progress, sort of like a digital entertainment realm. And David, you came from the gaming world, so I'm just thinking, I didn't play much games, but deprived kid. So for the future, right, going forward, the next 20 years, assuming if Metaverse becomes a mainstream thing, so how do people spend their time, young or even old, doesn't matter, okay? Regardless of demographics, usually the younger generation. So how much time will they spend in this Metaverse versus the gaming that we know today? Or it will have to be a combination of both. Because you have MiHoYo now calling themselves HoYoverse, Tencent hasn't really done much. So this is the first question, right? Because we all only have 24 hours. So how do real humans deal with this digital sort of space going forward? So it's a pretty big question because I don't get myself. The other thing is that they didn't mention about the hardware, right? Mm-hmm. Is there anything that is beyond just the personal gear? Maybe there's a little room, like a full booth we walked in, and so these are the two main things that I want to talk I have today. Right?
Good questions.
It's cooler than wearing this thing that is heavy, or even if it's light, it's still not very comfortable. Right? So these are two main questions. Thank you.
So the first question, I think like in 20 years, games, the way we know it now, it will be completely different. We just talked about it now, like it's a big rise of AI. So I've been using like Midjourney on all these like night cafe on technology, and they were like the AI was drawing extremely well. I believe that in the future, AI will be like a more stronger component for gaming, but it won't be like gaming like we know it now. Now we think, okay, on one side we have the TV, the other side we have gaming, and otherwise everything is really segmented. It will be like everything will be fused together. All the technology we have now, blockchain will be like a foundation for like a multiverse, on metaverse, and at the same time, every characters in the game will be like AI. And probably will be like those kind of TV show like Westworld, characters who don't even know they're AI.
Like
So
the
it will,
avatar will act in a way that...
oh, no, we actually, the game will like grow itself, like a single entities. And with all the system we have now, machine learning and the computing power available, the game will actually learn from players how to get better, to be more entertaining. So everyone after work will probably go on, probably in a room, maybe, or with helmet, in a world that they will just go to experiment. And probably it won't be actually the other thing we know now. The game will be playing people. They will provide new experience, saying, hey, okay, today you can make some token in a racing car game. Go with me. Boom, on you go, and you get friends with this AI, and you actually have your awesome 2 hours experience after work. It won't be like now, okay, now is gaming time. Oh, it's already midnight, I have to go to bed. It will be completely different, I believe. And the equipment, I mean, 3 years ago I went to Switzerland. Was really interesting on haptic technology, how people could actually feel things in the virtual world. Because I believe that only one frontier we have is why it's not so popular. Because in the VR we are numb now. We don't feel anything. We just see, we just hear, but we don't feel anything. I believe when we have this technology, when we can feel the wind, we can feel people touching us, we can hear in every direction, there will be absolutely no difference between the reality on the metaverse. So we are talking about another kind of entertainment at this level.
It's happening already, actually, some aspects of it. Because for games like Minecraft and No Man's Sky recently, the maps are actually procedurally generated, which means that the map is infinite, but then we're not going to design all the maps. It's different every time, and it's by the computer. and they have ways to know like what maps or how it's going to be more interesting or how it should be formatted. So some places might have mines or monsters, to a point where you don't even think about it. It's like back to when iPhone was launched. It's like, oh my god, it's the best thing. Now every year, what I hear is, oh, so boring. It's just like the same thing. But then we're just used to it, you know. I think AI and also the metaverse tech will be to that point where it's gonna be mainstream. But what I can't answer is when we'll get there, because we don't know yet. But I think we will get there for sure. And I think the time we spend in it depends on the industry, depends on your liking, because like as a student back then, I couldn't hang with my friends after school. So our metaverse is like an online game, and then we would call on the landline to meet up. That is our metaverse because we can't meet up physically. So I think depends on the industry and also what your needs are. At least there's an option for that. You know, if you want to enter the metaverse, you can choose to do that. But I don't think there should be a set rules for, you know, how much time you should spend in it.
A rule, or just like the demands of life, unless the perception of time changes. 2 hours is 2 hours.
Yeah, I feel like it would be dangerous for me because let's say there's like a pair of glasses that can help me enter the world, or like contact lenses. I feel like I would be there for days.
This is a Black Mirror
I don't
show.
know. I would spend like days playing video games back then, so maybe it's
How people gonna make money, man? Yeah, it's a deeper question. That was a great question, though.
Yes.
Very layered from a non-gamer, so good to hear from your perspective.
That's what your event says. That's what I think.
Yeah, it's a good
But
question.
actually, I see more interest for traditional industries who's like investing in this or trying to explore, because like you said, like fashion, I worked on, or I'm still working on the project, so maybe not say too much, but it's like escape rooms. You have to physically be there, but if it's virtual, you might, it's a different experience. So I find that traditional industries like fashion, music, bank, they're more open to enter that world because I think one, they have more budget, but also to a certain extent they can't live forever. With all the tech happening, I think they have to change in order to survive. So yeah, that's just my experience.
For music, I so agree. Something that people can already experience. Myself played Fortnite, and like there were already like 3 concerts in it. There were millions of people coming, seeing Travis Scott dancing, singing in it. And I remember that one of them was like just like 1.5 years ago, when we were all locked down. Nobody could actually go to any music festival in Hong Kong. The only one I saw was this event in Fortnite. And for me it was good enough, knowing that I got nothing else.
Ariana Grande.
Music is a very good, could be a very good use case.
Yes.
So it's like one of those like karaoke apps right now that people say. I mean, it's sort of also part of what TikTok was, you know, from Musically to TikTok, and you know how you, right? But if there's a metaverse of a lot of music and people who, you know, like you say, we don't look the best physically, but I can look like wherever I want, like the coolest guy on stage. And I feel differently because it's already digital in many aspects, right? It's music. It's, you know, you don't have the issue of the quality, because if you're looking at avatars today, honestly, it's right. But one day it will become so realistic, as you say, right? At one point, but music, it's almost pushing it to the limits, right? How much better can you be beyond flawless, right? The audio that already have the codecs and all that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Fantastic. Other questions? Okay, just glad you're here.
Just wanted to add few points.
Okay.
See, metaverse and virtual reality are different aspects. Metaverse is when you add blockchain to the virtual reality, right?
Mm-hmm.
That aspect, because there you can monetize, you can
There's a way to connect.
maintain the
Yes.
privacy, and you can maintain the data as well over the blockchain.
Okay.
And the commercial use case that is happening currently, I mean that is in development, as in medical industry, in education, training and training sector. For example, you do technical trainings
Sure.
for employees for hardware, for example, these kind of hardware instruments, mechanical engineering kind of trainings. So
Okay.
this is the actual use case of this metaverse currently that is in development.
Interesting. Hot take.
Yeah, but if we speak about the use case for the real world, I mean, where end users are us, people, general public, it is not possible right now because we don't have the exact hardware for that.
That's fair. So you don't think that Fortnite is a metaverse?
It is a metaverse, but the application is limited.
Right.
We cannot use the full potential or full extensibility of that metaverse into real world. Gaming is one part. I'm speaking about other industries.
Oh, I see. Okay.
The commercial aspect.
Okay.
I agree actually with that.
Okay.
Back to the VR
Yes.
implementation, like in games, like in League of Legends, it's like a metaverse, sure. But when I meet with my friends, we can walk around and spam emotes, but we can't do much other than typing. But for VR, if it gets to a point where it's more mainstream and also the tech is better than now, because honestly, like if you look at Sims 3, like it's better than most of the VR or like the metaverse games out there. I'm not gonna lie. So I think again, the tech is the main piece. I think if it gets to a point where it's mainstream and people are more open to the idea, it would be a game changer. But I agree, yeah. Like right now, the tech is not there yet. But hey, there's got to be someone to do it. So I think if anyone's interested in the field, I don't think. First of all, if you're into the money, I would say that's valid, but also ultimately I think the passion is still important. Like I think if the intention is to make the tech better and push it forward, then you'll find a lot of interesting things to do in Web3 for sure.
And
Yeah.
if I give one example of gaming industry, we all have played Pokemon Go. It was very famous here in Hong Kong.
Yeah.
So it was
Never
a
played it. Don't know what you're talking
augmented
about.
reality. That game uses augmented reality, right?
Yeah.
It augments through your camera the
That's
images
true.
into the
Yeah.
game. So that kind of games, it could be a good reality current
Okay.
current times.
That's a good contribution.
It
Appreciate
uses
that.
only mobile and camera.
Yes.
That's it.
It's true.
Just connect it to the blockchain and make it a Pokeverse.
I would say, coming back to what you say, Web3 and education is actually a perfect match.
Right.
Again, we have today different network, but we can all leave like our, I would say, impression on it. Like school Xccelerate, people learning Solidity. Because you have to keep in mind, like a lot of language now is actually extremely hard to learn them in school. I don't know in school teaching people Solidity. You can learn C# to use with and Unreal Engine is with C++, but Unity 3D for making games like Pokemon Go, you have to learn C#. C#, yeah, you need a few months to learn. Solidity, a few months, then you can do your own smart contract. Having something on Web3 that actually, okay, I'm coding something, I'm pushing it, and everybody can see it. It's there. It's immutable. Nobody can remove it. That's your skills. On having something like this today in the market, I would say today we outsource everywhere. Development in India, in Thailand, all of this. We need to find people who actually have these skills. It's not so easy, but on blockchain Web3, I believe that the technology will really actually match education at a really deep level. On Pokemon Go, we have a lot of people that talk to us about it. Everybody loves Pokemon Go, and they feel like Web3, having people walking around to the restaurant, to the club, and getting like a badge. Oh, this guy, he won like 5 times the same bar, now he should get free drinks.
Ooh. Calm down, take notes.
Yeah, if anyone has an idea, come to me. Huh? So yeah, the Web3 on this, on Pokemon Go, they're like brothers and sisters for me.
Awesome contribution. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Thank you.
Maybe one more question before we all hit the bar and pay back Club Dow for this generous space. Anybody else?
Any gamers?
Man in the beanie, you look cold. Anything you want to say?
For me?
Yeah.
Oh, how much do you believe the current market is underdeveloped? Meaning there's going to be a lot of iterations. How many more years of iteration before we get that iPhone moment?
Ooh, I mean, we are still really far from the Matrix, I believe.
Matrix.
But I can see that we're really getting there. What I mean is, first of all, I mean, Metaverse having a beautiful product on, even running on a PC browser is the next step. Today, when we see like Sandbox, okay, it's really like Minecraft on decentralized. I have to be honest, it's not like Call of Duty quality yet. First is to really give some really clean, beautiful visuals, something like everyone who has a PlayStation 5 will enjoy. That's the first step. Then implementing more like having like more hardware power, or having more like improvement on anything like blockchain, the gas fees, all these parts as well. All this wallet, MetaMask need to be improved. So it's actually different parts. It's really hard to say how many things need to be improved because everything has its own speed.
I think it's quite fast, the development. Seems like you guys are mostly not gamers, so I don't want to bore you, but if you look at Unreal Engine 5, which is a game engine really popular for most games, or like AAA titles. So if you look at, just type in Unreal Engine 5 on YouTube and look at the video, it's like real time generated. So I know that lots of movies are slowly adapting game softwares because when you think about gaming, it's real time. So if you play, the visuals must match what you input. So if you press a key and then the character does something, it's real time and interact with different other characters or the environment. So for movies, they have like a year or two or a few years to produce a movie. So everything is behind the doors. But with gaming, it has to look really good, but also real time. So I've seen lots of other industries start to adapt like the gaming softwares, and I think that's the key to it in the future. It might be a part of it.
Actually, now it's already in use in movie industry
Yeah,
right
exactly.
now.
Yeah.
And if saying like the Avatar, Unreal Engine 5 actually giving out like the MetaHuman plugin for free, and it actually making like the realistic side character already. You can use it in games, and now already having like the black magic camera, you can use it to real time when you asset is on, and you can wear like a special suit on, and then it already is like the finished 3D models since in the camera. But I think it's like more about like not about the visual bit, because it's like pushing the visual bit nowadays. It's like because it's like for the game engine, it actually lower the detail level for like what movie production need. So nowadays Unreal Engine 5 already reached the level that you can stand on big screen. So for visual bit, you want to push it into like the really realistic level, like Call of Duty 6 right now. It's like surreal for now, but the problem is how to do the fundamental of like the blockchain technology, like the wallet bit, like the security sides of stuff, and how their assets will be safe and not be stolen, and how like everyone will willing to use a wallet. But I think it's pretty close. Like Reddit's now getting like some new avatar selling, and no one recognizes like something Web3 because he's using like Visa card way to do the payment. So maybe soon.
Soon?
Yeah.
You heard it here first.
But coming back to this, is true. A lot of games now use Unreal Engine, but probably many of you have seen The Mandalorian. On this kind of TV show actually use the same game engine. And nobody knows it's actually CGI. they think, oh, it's just like the landscapes. They went to Utah or somewhere in the mountains. Actually, no. Everything was like a video game generated by computer using Unreal Engine 5.
Yeah, it's actually quite amazing because within 10, 15 years, it grew from like blocky characters to something that's like a movie quality. So, but with visual aside, I think it's also about community. I think what people are not grasping is that, or they always think, how is that going to help me? Because when I was in school and playing games, all my friends were playing the same game, so I would be, you know, attracted to join the game. But right now, since people are still deciding if they should get in, or like there's sandbox, there's Decentraland, should I get in? Like no one is using it, it's garbage, whatever. So I think community is also important in this aspect, which is how is it going to help you? But I think that depends on yourself. Like depends on yourself. Like what's your purpose on Decentraland or sandbox? You need to find that instead of having the game provide you, like the game's title, it's sandbox. You should create the content instead of joining sandbox for something in particular. I think it's up to you. That's the beauty of it.
Find the metaverse you belong. Find the metaverse you. That's beautiful. I think it's a great conclusion to this event. I have to give a contractually obligated pitch for Xccelerate. If you guys are looking to learn how to build smart contracts, we have a course for that. If you guys want to be as successful as Ryan, you can go to the same UI UX course that he graduated from. He's now a CEO. You could be up here. So thank you guys for joining, and a round of applause for the panelists, please. Thank you. And calm down. Thank you guys once again. And thank you guys for joining. Aperol Spritz. Let's go. Thank you.